All right, afternoon, everybody. Uh, this week, like we've done in the past, is going to be perfSONAR open office hours. So there's no set agenda beyond just listening to the dulcet tones of Andy and Mark talk about perfSONAR. So hopefully everybody brought some questions. But otherwise, I'll hand it over to Andy and Mark if they want to make any general announcements or proclamations before we get going.
Yeah, so I just a couple things. I can maybe throw this in chat at the end too, just because we'll probably get more people. But we sent out an email yesterday. We have a community survey open that we'd encourage everyone to fill out if they can, just kind of about your experiences using perfSONAR. It's very similar to ones we've done in the past. We try to do these periodically just to kind of get everybody's feedback, and it's really helpful in kind of helping us with roadmaps and things like that, and just get a general feel for you know, how the community is doing with things. One of the questions is if you've ever been to one of these. So, basically you should know the answer for that one if you get to that point since you're here. But I'll put that in chat right now. And like I said, I'll try and remember to put it back in at the end as well. But yeah, if any of you or if you guys could fill that out at some point, it would be greatly appreciated. And then other than that, we are trying to get a 5.2.4 release out here pretty soon, probably in the next week or so. That'll be out. We're just kind of finishing up some testing and things like that. Just a bug fix release, a few P schedule things in there. I'll probably bump a couple versions on things and stuff like that. So nothing too major. We've been trying to get that out for a few weeks, and I think it's just about ready. So I think those are the only general announcements. So I mean, I think as Jason said, this meeting, the format, we don't really have an agenda or anything. We're kind of dependent on you guys for questions, and it's just kind of an open forum. So feel free to kind of fire away.
Quite a lot.
So
There we go. I see Philip.
I'd ask a question. You'll be
Cool.
surprised. It's me, won't you? So is this the version where you kind of take back the uh, stuff from, well, let me say it again. In some version, you're going to disable older versions of perfSONAR stuff, and I want to continue running them. So is this the version that you do it, or is there a future version where you?
We're not
So the
there yet.
only change related to that is we've made changes to the packages that they'll remove the perfSONAR graphs package. If you upgrade which package is it? It's the Grafana package.
Yeah, the Grafana package
Yeah.
obsoletes the graph.
Yeah, so if you have perfSONAR Grafana installed, if you update that, it will obsolete the perfSONAR graphs package. Part of the reason we're doing that is there's like some CVEs associated with that, and
Sure.
people are getting alarms on that. So we just want to make sure that that's cleared off for folks since it's not used anymore. So yeah, I guess if you're still using that package,
No, I was talking more about the test points. There's some we're using test points on the old version and the new version, the same test points. And at some point, you said that you were going to obsolete the test points able to no longer talk to the Mad Dash
um,
tool.
Yeah, we haven't obsoleted the old archiver yet that can talk to the heck was that we used to use?
Esmond, yeah, Esmond.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's still there, and we actually don't have a reason to discontinue the code itself other than maybe being spiteful one day. But
And I mean, even if we were to remove the code, I don't know that we'd obsolete that package, like forcibly remove it from people's systems. Like
Okay.
it's not any ports or anything like that.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, great. I just wanted
Yeah.
to see because I wanted to block the repo if it was coming.
Yeah,
Last year you mentioned it was going to come, and so I wanted to just be on top of that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
imagine the way we would implement that is we might stop shipping the RPMs and things like that. Maybe we already have. I actually don't even remember.
No, I think we're still shipping.
Okay, we still build the RPMs. So at some point we might stop including those like in the repo, but us doing that would not remove them from an existing system, if that were to occur. So
Yeah, really the only time, and really, I mean, and this is ancient history by now. I think probably the biggest instance of us sort of like hard disabling things was all the BWCTL backward compatibility from, from years and years ago. Um, I think there's probably like a couple of archivers that we replaced with something else, and I think maybe one or two of them we've hard disabled. But other than that, um, there's a, unless there's a good reason for us to take the code away, um, and as long as it doesn't become a maintenance headache, basically we'll keep supporting that stuff, or we'll keep we'll keep distributing it.
Yeah, great. That's all I wanted to know. Thanks.
Yeah. We brought some answers to questions nobody asked, but I'm not sure anybody wants to hear those.
So I have another one.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, go for it.
So we're looking at replacing or updating our large fleet of Nooks to something to do 10 gig. And that's not an easy thing to do in this age of AI, sucking up all the RAM from everybody. The things that we're looking at are the Minis Forum MSO1 box, which seems to be a pretty neat box and is still reasonably priced. Surprisingly enough, it's in the $400 to $500 range. On the other hand, surprisingly enough, the potentially cheapest box that I could find is a Mac Mini M4. That's really pretty competitive cost wise. We can get it for an extra $100 with 10 gig on board. Will the ARM version be stable enough to use on that box, or do we use a Rosetta type thing to run perfSONAR on a box like that?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, we don't officially support Mac OS, so unless you were running a version of Linux on it, which I guess is also a.
We also do have an ARM build of the test point container as well. That being
Oh,
said,
yeah,
I
that's
have
true.
not, I don't know if anyone's done performance testing on a Mac OS running that like to any significant degree. So that might be interesting if you end up doing that. Um, and then yeah, if you were to install a flavor of Debian on there, um, our Debian packages have ARM. We have ARM versions of the Debian packages. I've had those for quite a while. I think some of the Giant deployments, I'm forgetting the name of that project where they have a bunch of, I think, smallish box out there. I'm pretty sure they use that relatively extensively. So I think, there's people out there using it, so it should be stable. So
Very interesting. Okay, great. Thanks.
yeah.
Phil, Dave Wheeler asked what the price for that Mac was.
Yeah, you listed the other device, said 400 or so. I'm curious what a Mac M4 is.
I just looked on the Apple page yesterday. It was like 479 or something like that
Oh, wow.
Wow.
for an M4. I mean, it's the minimum basic, but that's all you really need.
Yeah. Modulo the 10 gig card you said, right?
Well, yeah, it's $100 more if you do it.
Okay.
The other quote unquote crazy thing we're considering is getting a bunch of 2018 Mac Minis and just wiping Mac OS and just run Linux on them, just as stable boxes, and then have a 10 gig dongle off the back of the TV3 port or TV4 port and get the 10 gig that way.
That might work.
Again, we're going for cheap, but
yeah,
robust, but cheap.
Yeah, I mean, and really, I was thinking about like the stuff that Ed Cologne's using at Michigan, but it's kind of just north of the kilobuck tier, so that's probably not.
Oh yeah, for a kilobuck, you can get quite a neat, nice systems. But
yeah, and some of those and some of those little super micros will go as fast as 40. So
yeah,
but yeah, I hadn't really thought about 10 at the. Because usually you think kind of down at the bottom end, you think, more gig. And of course that's easy now.
Yeah.
It wasn't 5 or 6 years ago.
An interesting, just in the weed thing is that some of the dongles are TB3 and 4 compatible, but also USB 4. And so they could be used on the NUCs, which are just TB3, Thunderbolt 3, but then they could also be used on fancier machines that have USB 4 in the future. So that's just an interesting thing that we might get some
Yeah.
life out of.
Do your NUCs have enough like internal bandwidth to do that?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
We're running 10 gig on the NUCs on the
Oh, okay.
TB3 port already.
Yeah, it's just something I hadn't really thought much about, but that's cool that they do.
Yeah.
So, and you and I have talked about this, Phil, but 10,
Yeah.
10 is, I always thought 10 was a pretty good number. I mean, obviously, if you're looking at a gig pipe, it doesn't matter, but,
Right.
I always thought for bigger pipes, I always thought 10 was a good number because that's, what we saw on SciNet, over the years has been that, 10 is usually enough to show up a lot of the problems and things. One probably is too, if you're careful about it.
Well, our issue is that all of our edge stuff that we're putting the NUCs on is all 100 and 400 gig stuff, and they don't have any 1 gig ports anymore.
Oh, yeah.
And so to put a NUC on there, we need to get at least to a 10.
Yeah. Yeah, we have that problem in our pots too. We have breakouts and stuff to deal with that because we have some tens and we have hundreds, obviously. All right. Anybody else have a question? Just feel like abusing Andy and me. Could be I'm gonna elicit some questions by saying this. This could be a short one. Because most of our developer calls will be saying, yeah, I guess that's all we're getting today, and 3 or 4 people pile in.
While we're waiting to, just more release updates and things like that. So we've got the bug fix release we're going to try and get out in a week or so. The next big release is 5.3, and so we're going to be adding some stuff like a new test configuration UI to replace, what was PWA, or we'll call the new one PS Compose. We demoed it at like Internet 2's TechX last year, and things like that. We'll probably be showing it more places, and probably when we get closer, we'll have a talk in this venue specifically about that. Our kind of development's still underway. I think we were hoping by the end of next month to have a beta out. We've got a face-to-face in a few weeks. I think we'll hash that out. It wouldn't surprise me if it slips a little bit past that, but this is coming soon, so something to be on the lookout for. What we will, as always, we do betas first for that. So like, you don't have to worry about your machines auto upgrading when we do that. And so, that'll be a chance for people to beat on it and ask us questions and things like that. Sometimes that makes these a little bit more lively too. So I guess just, be looking out for that in the near future.
What version is that?
5.3. So
Okay.
that's kind of the next big version. So,
Okay. Will that have patches, or not patches, I guess, updates for like Grafana?
yes. And actually even 5.2.4, we're going to update Grafana to
Okay.
the latest security patch as well.
Great.
We'll probably do a bigger update. We try to keep the major version of Grafana the same for like the point releases. We might have to revisit that just because they seem to move a little bit faster than we do sometimes on on the big releases. But we try to get the ones with the latest security patches because we know that's, since we've introduced that, the security scanners know to look for Grafana and check that version. So I know if people get alerts.
Yep, we've been internally notified. Hey, your Grafana's out of date. Well, it's a package solution, so yeah, let me find out about the.
Yeah, and I have mentioned to people, so Grafana has like a default set of RPM and Debian repos. Right now they don't have any RNE mirrors. We've talked about doing some mirrors of that. But if you are able to set those up on your own, it's perfectly fine to like auto update. Particularly if you like stay on the same, where they're on like 12 right now. If you save on like 12.x, you're pretty safe. And well, I'm sorry, are we on 12 or are we on 11? I can't remember which off the top of my head. But anyways, if you stay in sync on that first number, you're pretty safe. Even if you don't, honestly, a lot of the stuff is okay. Just sometimes Grafana can kind of pull the rug out from under us and tweak things with different plugins and stuff like that. But
So that's why we're reluctant to change anything
yep.
outside of the package solution.
Yep. So yeah, so we're gonna update when 5.2.4 comes out. That'll be one of the updates is have the newest kind of security patch on there.
Okay, 5.2.4. Okay, and then what's the time again for that?
Like about a weekish. So,
okay.
Yep.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, at some point we're also starting to we're also kind of finally starting to overhaul how we distribute things, and I think maybe one of the things we might look at is mirroring the Grafana distribution so that we can see it. I've always been kind of surprised that RNE does not have, I guess what would have been like, what ftp.uu.net was in the, in the 90s. Where there's sort of one big site that mirrors everything that you could use for, for networks that can't see off of RNE. But sounds like a good Internet 2 project.
What else do people have?
I have a small topic of conversation that we might poll the audience about that's not that we would have put this in the user survey anyway. Um, I had been thinking recently about throughput measurements, and I have some slides about the work that Matt Mathis and friends did on throughput several years ago. And I started finding I started wondering if anybody would be interested in having a tool that excuse me, basically what it does is it kind of figures out what the maximum segment size is, measures the round trip time and measures loss, and comes up with a sort of theoretical max throughput based on those. So that's something people would be interested in. Be a little bit of work to write, but kind of curious if it's something people would find useful. Okay.
Why would you do that instead of just test?
Oh, is that it mostly just as sort of another way to make sure that your throughput measurements are halfway decent.
Okay. So it's theory versus practical, and
right.
See how close they come together.
Yeah. Okay, well, hearing none, I guess that's no interest. Put that one on.
Well, I'll throw it out there that that is a useful tool to set expectations. I don't see anybody besides just wizards using it though.
Yeah.
But it's still a useful tool for wizards. So, if you're gonna open up a wizard shop, you might want to have that.
Yeah. And we kind of have the pieces to figure it out too, so wouldn't be a huge effort, but I'll do that in my copious spare time, I guess.
Given what Jason said, the easier the interface, or the simpler the interface, the more likely it is to be used.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, it would end up being, just another tool that's probably available. For for the throughput test. You would have to explicitly say that you want to use it. Because it is different.
Oh, it'd be part of perfSONAR?
Yeah.
Or a separate standalone tool?
No, I'd make it part of.
I see. Okay.
I'd write the tool and then just make it part of pScheduler.
But
because what
you'd
fun
only
would it
use
be?
it a few times.
What's that?
You'd only use it a few times.
Not necessarily. I could see that being something you'd use continuously.
Huh. I have to think about that.
Yeah. All right. We'll come back and survey you again in 3 months and see if the market has changed.
I've got another poll question that might get crickets too. How many people here are Kubernetes shops? Part of the reason I ask is in a few weeks we meet face to face. We're going to be just talking about kind of container strategies and things like that. And whether we want to go down like looking at things like Helm charts and stuff like that for perfSONAR deployments. If John Graham were here, this would definitely spark an interesting discussion, I know, but I'm just curious other folks if they're using Kubernetes extensively at their institutions or not. Might be crickets, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm gonna wait for the crickets before I chime in on that.
Well, yeah, I know your answer too, but
yeah. Well, and no, I mean, we're starting to do that. In fact, the guy at Internet 2 who's overseeing a lot of that has actually made a whole bunch of changes to the container, which hopefully we will contribute because it actually makes a bunch of things run a lot smoother. But he's basically, because our stuff is all of our systems are have been kind of donated to NRP so that they can use the compute cycles that are available on that. perfSONAR is still in a container like it has been for the last several years, but it's all part of the whole Kubernetes cluster. So I'm considering, probably not this year, but maybe next year, I might shift the Signet deployment over to Kubernetes just to kind of wring some of it out. But yeah, I think it'd be a nice idea to have that, and I think some of the stuff that's been done over at our shop would probably be worth bringing into the container. The big thing that we're working on right now is persistence. So that way, if the container has to be wiped and rebuilt, you can, the pscheduler won't lose its mind.
It's kind of the same thing at IU too. At the Global NOC, Kubernetes is, there's a push for it, and one of the things I'm looking forward to at the face-to-face is some of the discussion around it. So,
just being a little flip, as I want to do, is Kubernetes going to be around in a year?
That's a good, well, probably.
I think we've crossed that threshold. I mean, it's been around for a few years now, right? And
well, that's the problem.
Yeah, fair enough. So,
it's going to be taken over by AI.
yeah, I think another aspect of this too is, we've kind of really only ever offered the test point as a container. I mean, we've already been working with NRP a little bit on getting the archive, kind of a container setup for that. And actually they specifically want it in Kubernetes as well too. So I think that's also part of the discussion, is just our general overall, like what containers do we offer? And, things like the test point too are kind of just all bundled into one container. Are there advantages to splitting some of that out? And all right, well, I think
I was going to say, this isn't being caused by Jason not allowing people to unmute, is it?
No, I actually did make sure that that people could do that this time.
That's just because we've heard from Dave and Phil. So,
except for select people, probably like me or something like that.
I don't know. I can selectively mute you if you want, Davey.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You might be tempted sometimes.
Only guys with shaved heads can talk, I think.
There you go.
So.
Yeah, you guys are starting a cult here. We got to watch out.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah, we'll have perfSONAR logo just on the top of our head pretty soon.
Yeah.
It's going to have to be the side or the back for me.
We had in one of my past lives back when I still had hair, two of the people that I worked with were bald, and we had this thing where three of us had to go out there go out to a customer site one at a time. So the two bald guys went, and when the second one went, the people at the site were like, "Are all of you people bald?" And when they came back, they were like begging me to shave my head before I went out there, which I didn't. But it's kind of a funny story. So that has nothing to do with perfSONAR. So
like the geek version of CZ Top.
yes.
Exactly.
I did just repost the link to the perfSONAR community survey just because of a few more people joined since I did that at the beginning, and I know you don't always get the chat right away, so that link is handy for folks if you're interested in that. So, yeah. So anything else?
And we can give you back some of your day.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then what I'll say is that everybody should go fill out that survey right now, since you have a half hour of unallocated time in your days. Well, thank you, everybody. Let me just see who's talking next week. Okay, we have a 1 week break, so no talk next week. But then on February 20th, Nick Pappin from Washington State is going to be talking about Broadband Equity and Access Development Program. It's called BEAD. So hopefully people can join for that. Otherwise, we'll talk to everybody soon. Thanks all.
See ya. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.